Thecodontosaurus. Decadanosaurus, socket-toothed lizard, is a genus of herbivorous basal sauropodomorph dinosaur that lived during the late Triassic period, Rhaetian age. Its remains are known mostly from Triassic fissure fillings in South England. Decadanosaurus was a small bipedal animal, about 2 meters, 6.5 feet, long. It is one of the first dinosaurs to be discovered and is one of the oldest that existed. Many species have been named in the genus, but only the type species Thecodontosaurus antiquus is seen as valid today. Discovery and naming. Thecodontosaurus antiquus. In the autumn of 1834, Surgeon Henry Riley, 1797–1848, and the curator of the Bristol Institution, Samuel Stutchbury, began to excavate saurian remains at the quarry of Durham Down, at Clifton, presently a part of Bristol, which is part of the Magnesian conglomerate. In 1834 and 1835, they briefly reported on the finds. They provided their initial description in 1836, naming a new genus, Thecodontosaurus. The name is derived from Greek theta kappa, theke, socket, and omicron delta omicron upsilon sigma, edus, tooth, a reference to the fact that the roots of the teeth were not fused with the jawbone, as in present lizards, but positioned in separate tooth sockets. Thecodontosaurus was the fifth dinosaur named, after Megalosaurus, Iguanodon, Streptospondylus, and Hylaeosaurus, though Riley and Stutchbury were not aware of this, the very concept of Dinosauria only being created in 1842. In 1843, in his catalogue of British fossils, John Morris provided a complete species name, Thecodontosaurus antiquus. The specific epithet, antiquus, means ancient in Latin. The original type specimen or holotype of Thecodontosaurus, BCM1, a lower jaw, fell victim to heavy World War II bombings. Many remains of this dinosaur and other material related to it were destroyed in November 1940 during the Bristol Blitz. However, most bones were salvaged. Today 184 fossil bones are part of the collection of the Bristol City Museum and Art Gallery. Later, more remains were found near Bristol at Tytherington. Currently about 245 fragmentary specimens are known, representing numerous individuals. In 1985, Peter Galton designated another lower jaw, a right dentary, as the neotype, BCM2. The remains had been found in chalkstone infillings, breccia deposited in fissures in older rocks. The age of these deposits was once estimated as old as the late Carnian, but recent studies indicate that they date from the Rhaetian. Other species. Apart from the original type species, Thecodontosaurus antiquus, Riley and Stutchbury also found some teeth of carnivorous phytosaurians that they named Paleosaurus cylindrodon and P. platydon. In the late 19th century, the theory became popular that such remains belonged to carnivorous prosauropods, animals with the body of Thecodontosaurus, but with slicing teeth. In 1890, Arthur Smith Woodward accordingly named a Decadanosaurus platydon, and in 1908 Friedrich von Huene named a Decadanosaurus cylindrodon. Though still defended by Michael Cooper in 1981, the hypothesis that such creatures existed has now been totally discredited. On one occasion, material of Decadanosaurus was, by mistake, described as a separate genus. In 1891, Harry Govier Seeley named Agrosaurus mcgillivrei, assuming the remains had been collected in 1844 by the crew of HMS Fly on the northeast coast of Australia. It was long considered the first dinosaur found in Australia, but in 1999 it was discovered that the bones probably belonged to a lot sent by Riley and Stutchbury to the British Museum of Natural History and then mislabeled. In 1906, von Huene had already noted the close resemblance and renamed the species Thecodontosaurus mcgillivrei. It is thus a junior synonym of Thecodontosaurus antiquus. Presently, the only valid species is thus D. antiquus. Misassigned species. Thecodontosaurus caducus was named by Adam Yates in 2003 for a juvenile specimen found in Wales. In 2007 this was made the separate genus Pantydrico. However, Bellale, Rayfield and Benton, 2020, considered Pantydrico caducus to be a taxon of uncertain validity, and considered it possible that it might represent a juvenile of Thecodontosaurus antiquus. Description. From the fragmentary remains of Thecodontosaurus, most of the skeleton can be reconstructed, except for the front of the skull. Thecodontosaurus had a rather short neck supporting a fairly large skull with large eyes. Its jaws contained many small to medium-sized, serrated, leaf-shaped teeth. This dinosaur's hands and feet each had 5 digits, and the hands were long and rather narrow, with an extended claw on each. This dinosaur's front limbs were much shorter than the legs, and its tail was much longer than the head, neck and body put together. On average, It was 1.2 meters, 3.9 feet, long, 30 centimeters, 12 in, or 1 foot tall, and weighed 11 kilograms, 24 pounds. The largest individuals had an estimated length of 2.5 meters, 8.2 feet. In 2000, Michael Benton noted the existence of a robust morph in the population, seen by him as a possible second species or, more likely, an instance of sexual dimorphism. Benton also indicated some unique derived traits, or autapomorphies, for the species, along the pseudo-pterygoid process on the brain case, a dentary that is short in relation to the total length of the lower jaw, an ilium that has a backhand that is subquadrate instead of rounded. The small size has been explained as an instance of insular dwarfism. Phylogeny. Riley and Stutchbury originally saw Thecodontosaurus as a member of the Squamata, the group containing lizards and snakes. This did not change when Richard Owen coined the term Dinosauria in 1842. Because Owen did not recognize Decadanosaurus as a dinosaur, in 1865, he assigned it to the Thecodontia. It was not until 1870 that Thomas Huxley became the first person to understand that it was a dinosaur, though referring it incorrectly to the Coelidosauridae. Later, it was placed in either the Ankysauridae or its own Echidnosauridae. Modern exact cladistic analyses have not been conclusive. Although not actually the earliest member of the group, Decadanosaurus is sometimes placed in a very basal position among the sauropodomorph dinosaurs. It was earlier included under the Prosauropoda, but more recently it has been suggested that Decadontosaurus and its relatives preceded the prosauropod-sauropod split. New reconstructions show that its neck is proportionally shorter than those in more advanced early sauropodomorphs. The Bristol Dinosaur Project. Decadanosaurus has formed the basis of a massive public engagement exercise, the Bristol Dinosaur Project, that has run since 2000. In 2009, HLF core-funded the Bristol Dinosaur Project, which allowed for the hiring of an educational officer and a fossil preparator to further develop the project. This funding resulted in 3.5 years of extensive laboratory, research, and outreach work that presented the project to thousands of people all around the world.